Ready?
Good evening. I'd like to call the Tuesday, September 26th, 2023 Culver Town Council meeting to order, please. Before we get started, I'd like to remind people that this meeting is being recorded on the town's YouTube channel. Participation in this meeting is your consent to be recorded and rebroadcast. At this time, if you will, please mute or turn off any electronic devices. Also, I see a lot of faces that I haven't seen in the audience before. If you wish to speak, please identify yourself by name and address. Thank you. Roll call.
William Clevenger.
Present.
Bill Giffen.
Here.
Bill Ham.
Here.
Sally Ricciardi.
Here.
Rich West.
Present.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is the approval of September 12th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. Are there any additions, corrections to the minutes?
We approve the September 12th, 2023 regular.
Mr. West moves to approve the minutes. As second, please.
Second.
It's been seconded by Mr. Ham. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Next, we have the public hearing on ordinance 2023-015. Amending the ordinance established fees or costs for Culver Park Recreational Department, basically otherwise known as pier slip fees. May I have a motion to open the public hearing, please?
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Giffen, seconded by Mr. West. We open the meeting at 6:34.
Point of order. We vote on that?
Mhm.
Can we vote on that?
Oh, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. This is an ordinance amending and restating an ordinance 22,022-006 and 20,021-010, being the ordinance establishing fees or costs for the Culver Town Park and Recreation Departments. Now therefore being ordained by the Common Council of the Town of Culver that the following fee schedule is hereby adopted for use by the Culver Park and Recreation Department. I think there were copies of the fee schedule out there on the table. Do I have any public comment, please? Yes, sir.
Donald Hill, Harding Court. So with the fees going up, is there gonna be renovations and fixing the pier with all the money that we put forward already?
Amber, would
The
you
pier
like?
is not in
Oh,
very good
I'm sorry.
condition. So like I said, I got little nieces and nephews, their flip flops get caught in the pier. I can't even take an elderly person out on the pier because it wiggles so much. I mean, I've sent numerous emails, fees in front, poison ivy in front. I mean, so fees, we don't mind paying a little extra, but will the pier being taken care of for the money it's made this park in the city for the last 10 years?
Amber, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, so the reason for the increase is to address, is to address the wobbliness of the pier. The intent is to use that money to repair all the pier sockets, starting with C pier, which is the worst, then phasing it out, B pier and then A pier, just based on need. The pier socket replacement in total is going to cost around between $210,000 to $230,000. So that is the reasoning for the increase in this the fees for the books. So
And has there been reserves put away every year? So now.
there has, yeah.
Just to tag on to that, I'm Kelly Hill, also 419 Hardy Court. When we spoke at the beginning of the summer about CPR, you said you were in the process of getting estimates or bids for the C sockets, right? Have you obtained those yet? So I know the construction can't take place if the piers are out, that we're guaranteed that next spring, when these go in, CPR, we won't live another season with CPR and the condition is in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to always hard say something, for sure. But the plan, you'll see later tonight during the department head report, I'll be requesting approval for an estimate. And the reasoning for that is the hopes to start CPR the fall of this year.
How long estimates take, and I thought the estimates were starting the bidding.
We have
process
them.
beginning of summer. You
Yeah,
have
we have them,
Okay.
and tonight we'll be asking for approval for them.
Okay.
The idea is to have, we're phasing it out, so C pier will be done the fall of 2023 and the spring of 2024. And then B will be the fall of 2024, and so on and so forth until we can.
Any other public comment?
Yeah, I'm Josh Hart, State Road 117, and I was just wondering, like, so the last 20% increases that have been happening, have those been held back for the socket replacements going forward? I mean, this seems like every year there's a 20% increase, 20% increase. I don't know how many 20% increases there's been.
To clarify, it wasn't a 20% increase. The last one was a 10, and that hadn't been made for 5 years.
Okay,
So last year, the idea was just to bring us back up in terms of inflation. And then this 20% increase is for the pier socket,
Thank you. John?
It's also not 20% even for interior, exterior. Is that purposeful?
It's the same amount. It's 20% across the board.
Oh, yeah, okay, because we pay more. Yep.
John?
John Alfred, 708 Academy Road. I got in 2021, I was paid $950. In 2023, I paid $1150. And now you're asking me to pay $1360. But I'm not sure, or I don't see where this is gonna solve the problem in the long run. You're saying this costs $210,000 to $230,000. And you got 175 pier spots. If they all go up $100, it's not gonna cover this. So, and I asked you guys 2 years ago, is that gonna be enough? You're gonna raise the price again. Nobody really answered it. This sounds like a Band-Aid approach. What's it gonna, you're talking about pier sockets. What about the decking? Gonna do anything with the decking?
So the plan, I mean, again, ultimately, it's not my decision and I can't give any hard answers. However, the plan is to address the pier sockets. This will, we'll be able to recuperate the cost in about 5.5 years with this 20% increase. It's about 40,000 additional revenue to cover the cost of the pier socket repairs. Afterward, ideally, I would advise that we put away money to start accumulating the costs or to replace the pier panels. But again, that we're gonna have to recuperate the costs first for the pier sockets.
Is it
Rich?
Just, besides the sockets, are we not also replacing part of the steel, so the upright poles and some of the steel structures being replaced at the
Right,
same time?
yes.
And I think from a budget perspective, this year, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, are we putting in $30,000 this year for that repair, for this fall repair? What we're budgeting for is next year's repair also, but I think out of the current pier slip funds, I think aren't we putting out about $30,000 for this repair or more?
No, it'll all be coming from next year.
Any other comment? Motion to close the public hearing, please.
so moved?
It's been moved by Mr. Githens. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ham. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Karen. Thank you.
And you might want to see if there's anybody online as well.
Is there anyone online for the public hearing? Go ahead, Karen. Thank you.
September 26, 2023, Culver Town Council meeting, 2024 pier slip rental rates, public comment. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to comment on the town pier rate increase. I had a great meeting this morning with Amber Cowell, who very kindly explained the circumstances surrounding subject 2024 pier rates increase. She is doing an exceptional job, and I commend her on the effort to balance the troublesome pier issues that she inherited. I trust her judgment going forward in regard to increasing the yearly pier maintenance reserve fund contribution and her effort to standardize the various pier support mechanical systems. Although I have no issue with the piers myself, I do understand that certain pier sections are a little quote unquote wobbly, and the concern some slip renters have with boarding the elderly kids or those with mobility issues. The safety of all boaters is paramount, and I do commend the town's efforts to increase boater safety. From my perspective, the wobbly issue is most due in part in most part due to the lack of diagonal braces or the longer pier runs and end pier supports, not a socket depth issue. Basic physics dictates that a triangle is stronger than a square. Installation of diagonal bracing on the boat rear and side pier supports and the longer run pier supports would have in my mind been a much more economical solution to solving the wobble issues rather than replacing all the sockets with longer length sockets. I have not reviewed the socket replacement plan, but if that plan does not include the addition of a diagonal bracing, the piers will again become wobbly in years to come. Much more unsafe than slightly wobbly piers from my perspective is the wake turbulence caused by boats speeding near the outer marker buoys. I've almost been tossed out of my boat when unfortunate enough to be in the slip water when a boat speeds by. The outer marker buoys are much too close to the outermost slips. The no wake zone buoys need to be 200 feet from the outermost slips, not 200 feet from shore. The boaters need to be protected from the wakes while in the slips. This is basic common sense, and I wonder why slip renters have put up with this issue for so long. As a result of the tight slip spacing, inherently wobbly temporary pier design, and the danger of wake turbulence while in the slip, I board my passengers over the courtesy pier. This practice significantly lowers the likelihood of injury. The courtesy pier is great. The courtesy pier could even be expanded with side piers with tire bumpers and cleats for easier tie-up while picking up and dropping off. I also want to express continued dismay with the town's inability to provide civilized lavatory facilities for off-hour boaters. The porta potties are disgusting and a horrible black eye to an otherwise beautiful park. I understand the installation of a permanent public facilities presents cost, maintenance, security, and other challenges. I know there have been past efforts to deal with the issue, and it is a difficult subject, but neighboring parks seem to have found ways to deal with the issues of a permanent facility. I would like to think that a progressive town like Culver could do the same. In summary, if I had been given a choice, pier upgrades or a porta potty removal, I would have voted without hesitation for removal of the porta potties. Thank you, JD Castleman, 641 Forest Place, Culver.
Thank you.
As long as the meeting's still open, I would like to make a comment.
The hearing has been closed, Russ.
Just let her read the letter.
Motion to reopen the public hearing, please.
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Gooden. Second, please.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ham.
West Mason 530 Forest Place. This is just a minor point that I need Amber to check on. He mentioned in his letter 200 feet from the edge of the pier. I talked to the DNR officer. He told me 200 feet from the shoreline. Somebody needs to verify that.
It is from the shoreline.
It's the shoreline.
I've talked to the police.
That's what I
the
said.
sheriff too.
Not 200 feet from the edge
No.
of the pier.
It's 150 max for your pier and then 200 max for the boat. They are extremely close to them.
Going back to the open, can we check in that, are we getting a guarantee that if the sockets go in, this is going to take care of the wobbly pair from the people putting them in?
Who asked the question?
I did. God help.
Thank you for
I was just asking that. With these estimates, if we go along, put the sockets in, we getting a guarantee from the company that this will ensure that the piers will no longer be wobbled? Because I've had a couple of people others say it could be braces and not the socket.
Yeah, and for the record, maybe, if you could explain the
Yeah.
extent of it. We're calling it the socket program, but it's more extensive than that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, yeah, no,
If you're-
so, yeah, so the issue is that when these sockets were installed 20 years ago, the depth of them for what I call the spaces closest to the shoreline, the ones furthest out, as we all know, the water gets deeper, they're the same distance, or like the same length. So that's the real issue. But the estimate that I have includes crossbars as well. So we're taking every
Doubling
approach.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that company will say, hey, there's no more wobbly pairs anymore.
that's the intent, yes.
I just want to make sure we're covering everything before. Right, thank you.
Okay, lastly, any other public comment?
I mean, Josh Hart, 117, I'm just saying for all of us to pay for that. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea, like, I have a slip down there forever, and I can't even park to my boat, I have to park behind the bar. I mean, I mean, paying for parking was never a big deal down there, I mean, it would be another way to get revenue from this town, I mean. It's packed all the way down, nobody can even go there to get to their slip. I mean, I know most of you are from town. I mean,
There's something else I move to close the public hearing.
I do have something else
On mine, okay.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is Jeff Mansfield, 222 Lakeview. I just wanted to, first off, say, I agree that these, and I apologize, I'm joining late. These piers do need to be addressed. I mean, I sent a video earlier this year to Amber showing how basically you can't walk on a pier, some of the sections of the pier without with someone else following you. You have to basically have a large distance between people on them. In fact, Rusty Kearns, who has his pier next to Sea Pier, was explaining how he actually saw some of the teenagers on that pier basically having a contest to see who could wiggle it far most to get somebody thrown off the pier and into the water. So I agree that this needs to be done. I just have a question on the funding of this, though. So you're raising the rates to us. Are other rates in the park being raised also by 20%? It seems that the pier owners have been funding a lot of the park over the years. And I just would like to see an equitable distribution of, now that the piers need to be updated, that other costs, other people are sharing in that. So are the rates, for example, that are being paid by for rental of pavilions going up 20%? There was a lot of work done for the farmers market, which I do enjoy the farmers market, but are
Jeff?
they going to be paying more?
Jeff?
Yes.
This hearing is only for the establishment of new fees for the piers.
I understand, but I think that we should be looking to spread that cost to others also. So I'll stop there.
Thank you. Now a motion to close the public hearing again.
So
Moved by Mr. Githens, seconded by Mr. Ham. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Next on the agenda is the first reading of ordinance 2023-015, amending the ordinance establishing fees or costs for Culver Park and Recreation Department.
That we approve ordinance 2023-15 on first reading.
Moved by Mr. West. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Shardy. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Passed on first read. Next is a public hearing for ordinance 2023-016, ordinance for appropriations and tax rates for the 2024 budget. May I have a motion to open the public hearing, please? It's been moved by Mr. Ham. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Githens. Thank you. I have 750 or 652. Okay. Karen,
Yeah, everyone, or well, I guess there were several copies of the budget for the 2024 available out there. It showed the anticipated revenue as well as the anticipated expenses for each of the departments and the funds that we're advertising. I can go over it by fund or I can answer questions.
Is there anyone online?
Anyone online for the ordinance 2023-016, ordinance for appropriations and tax rates? Anybody online? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
That been moved by Mr. Gibbons, seconded by Mr. West. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Next on the agenda is first read of ordinance 2023-018, ordinance designating an area within the town.
No,
116.
We're selling-
116.
We're selling the budget.
Oh, I'm sorry. 2023-018, 18.
I'd make a motion that we approve on first reading ordinance 2023-016, the ordinance and appropriation and tax rates for 2024's budget.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. West, seconded by Mr. Gibbons. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now, first reading of ordinance 2023-018. Ordinance designating an area within the town as an economic development target area. Jim, you want to make a
Yeah,
comment?
I could, I'd be happy to. This has to do with, generally the, Dunes Housing, project, that land that's owned by McGee's. We annexed it in quite some time ago. The intention is to add, that property as a TIF, one of our TIF zones. Because we're also involving an economic development aspect of our project, we need to have the area within this area designated as an economic development target area. The ordinance provides basically just simply that the Dunes residential area is desirable for normal development, or is not as undesirable for normal development, but is good for normal development of housing, occupancy, that kind of thing. And we want to designate that particular area. There's a legal description for that entire tract that would be designated as the economic development target area, and it would be in full force and effect after the adoption. So this is just really part of our bonding TIF program that we've got as part of
Okay.
the area.
Is there anyone online? Hearing none. Anyone in the audience?
Nicholson, 1111 North Lake Shore Drive. Is this gonna sunset in 25 years or is it gonna be in perpetuity?
The designation area is basically, the entire time, yeah.
But with that comes going into the pit.
Yeah,
The sections of it that are commercial are 20 years and the sections of it that are
25.
industrial are 25.
reverse around that.
The residential are 25.
Residential is 20 and the commercial is 25.
25.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
This is just designating a zone. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Let's
That's
make
all.
it,
Setting it
let's
up.
make it real simple for everybody.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's
You're not-
development is an economic target area,
That's all it is.
period.
I would like to make a motion that we accept ordinance 2023-018.
Moved by Mr. Shardy. Is there a second, please?
Excuse me, Mr. President. You had another comment out there. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
That's right. Just real quick, the development goes from
Tom, you need to identify yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom Uhas, 430 State Street. The property we're talking about goes from, I'm not sure what that street would be called. That would be the northern street where Evil Check used to be. Davis,
Yeah.
some Davis. And then as you go down, does it go all the way to Tim Howard's property? So it's that whole stretch? Or does it go to that like alley?
I don't like spiders. Sorry.
The economic development area is basically the
Anything else
key
you wanna-
property, 26.72 acres that lies west of Main Street, south of,
Davis.
Davis, and I think really north of what used to be the Howard property.
Isn't that, what's that street down there?
Well, it's Lake Shore Drive, and then Tamarack is a county road that goes on down.
Yeah, but I'm talking about coming up, from the, west.
West Shore.
No,
Oh,
back this way.
Yeah, it doesn't go all the way down. to
Yeah,
Lake Shore.
doesn't
It goes to, what's the name of
That
it?
ends in the Bills and Wabash,
yeah,
which you live on, your house.
yeah. I live on
Wabash,
Wabash.
Wabash, I think is the end street
No,
on the south side.
well, it's the last street that
It goes past West.
it goes past.
Okay.
So it goes to the end of the cemetery? Or the beginning of the cemetery?
On the other side of the road.
I know that, but.
Doesn't
where-
take in
how far
Howard's
south
property.
does it
Does
go?
not take in Howard's property. It only takes in the McGee property.
I don't know where that ends. That's what I'm at.
Okay, well,
Pine trees are, okay,
Yeah.
I could show you on a map.
okay. Because there's an access road that goes to a pole barn that's back there.
That's
Gravel road. That.
Yeah.
It goes south and there's 4 acres that's in the front of Howard's property
Yes,
that is not in the development itself, but it'll be in the same designated area.
okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Maureen Dickinson at 522. Instead of like saying Tim Howard's property or this property, can we actually see it on a map so that the people who are present who don't know where Tim old property used to be? Can you pull it up on Beacon and then
Yeah,
pull that up some?
yeah. Basically, Tim Howard's property. If you go on West Shore, where you make the bend at the cemetery, there's a driveway that goes back to Tim's house. And that's the end of the designated area. She can draw it out, bring it up, hopefully.
So that farmland is in.
I think a section of it's in the designated area.
Yeah.
Was that?
Sally, right now.
Sally, can you roll people back towards your numbers? Maybe.
This thing doesn't like, well, that's it again.
She's got it. You get, okay. Might have some. You get there. There you go. I guess I should have brought a map. Sorry.
Yeah, well, we might be able to show it on that map.
Hi, Sally. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Who
Oh.
are you?
It's Wade McGee, 340
Oh.
South Drive. The addresses on the property, if people want to look, are 957 South Main Street and 1105 South Main Street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's approximately 66 acres.
Oh, yeah, 26 and another 20. I only have 46.
Okay, so here's the north.
Within 50 meters, that's what became part of the county going down to the cemetery.
That's on that south side of.
It's this person right
Yeah.
here.
There's a line, there's a line, faded line on this map.
That's right. Next to Lake.
That's the one,
One, here's Garden Court.
this one here.
Yeah, That's the south line.
is the south line. You can see over my head,
And
which
then there-
since I'm in the authority.
Sorry.
No short jokes.
where the entrance is.
Take your pardon?
This is not talking about the development itself. It's just designating that area as an economic development area.
Right.
We're not talking about the design of the housing or the code configuration internally. It's just allowing us to say, okay, that's an area where we'd like to do development and can use some of the public and private funds to do that.
Everybody had a chance to take a look? Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2023-018 on first read.
I'll make a move.
I think Mr. Shardy made a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Ham is second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We have a motion to suspend the rules.
No.
Okay. Okay. All right. Consulate Church's requests.
Just from the Culver Community Pantry. And we do have a request that we sent in for additional funding to replace to not replace, but receive some additional freezer space and shelving space. Since 2018, our client load has gone up 119%. And I had to turn down 350 pounds of chicken that was being offered to us because we didn't have space. I think an additional freezer and some shelving would help us out a lot. Be able to take care of the people in the community.
Is it a freezer or a refrigerator?
Freezer.
Freezer.
What do you estimate that cost to be, please?
$6,572.
Thank you, Bill. And that includes the shelving?
That includes the shelving.
Yeah, the shelving is 3,732 and the freezer is $2,840 for a total of 6,572. I would make a motion that we approve $6,572 for the Culver Food Pantry to purchase those two items, and it come out of the 2023 budget.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Githens, seconded by Mr. West. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Thank you.
Thanks, Gail.
Yes, thank you for the job you do.
Yeah, great job.
And your committee group.
I'm glad that money's staying here in Culver.
Yep.
That's the purpose of this.
Thank you.
Karen, about the library appointment? We're taking applications.
You want me to share that information or, I mean, I can get.
Go ahead.
So the town has an appointment to the library board. Our appointment resigned a couple weeks ago. We will take applications, I believe I said until October 6th.
Right.
Do you want to interview? You might want to just discuss this.
Pardon?
You might want to discuss this.
Yeah,
Do you want to take applications until what date? Do you want to have interviews? And if you want to backdate it from October 10th, that would probably be, if you wanted to make that appointment October 10th.
Okay. So,
I would suggest that we advertise for that open position with a deadline for returns on Friday, October 6th.
October 6th, okay.
And then do you want to just go ahead and say you're gonna plan on having, interviews on Columbus Day?
We open Columbus Day?
No, we're close.
That's what I thought. I
Okay.
just, but they have been. Some people are closed, some aren't.
I think I made the suggestion that you take them until October 6th, but I'm going on memory right now because I emailed that information out. I think I suggested October 4th or 5th, which is Wednesday or Thursday of next week. That would allow you on Friday to do interviews and make your appointment on the 10th.
All right, I amend my motion that we extend the interview, application process to October 4th, Wednesday. Permitting us to do interviews on Thursday and Friday.
This moved by Mr. West, is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ham. Discussion, if not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Kevin, Dunes update.
Yes, sir. Several members of the Dunes Work Group met last week to respond to several questions and comments that were raised by the developer concerning the economic development agreement. And we reviewed the incentives that we're offering within that agreement. The group also discussed the developer's request for a portion of the incentive to be provided for liquidity up front. Those numbers we passed along, and we are waiting to hear back concerning the agreement.
Anything else?
That is where we're at currently.
That's where we are currently. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Town manager report.
That would be me. I've got the deck, it seems like. Had a productive last couple of weeks. I've met with Jeff and the EMS service. He provided data that began at the beginning of the year all the way up to August. I placed those in your boxes for your review. It was comprehensive, and the only thing I think we're missing in that, and Jeff and I talked about, was kind of response time. We're going to get that in the next couple of weeks. Police, we received the 2 new 22 Dodge Chargers. You can see them outside. They're good looking. Wayne also provided information put in your box concerning incident reports for the month. Park, I want to especially thank Amber, as well as Bob Porter and his guys, his crew. We listened to the concerns that during the last meeting concerning the rocks that were located near the playground equipment. Took a look at that with Amber and Bob, and we were able to remove those and relocate them in a safer area of the park, responding to that concern. And so I really want to thank them. They were a good team to work with. We had a good time. Utilities. I felt like a middle school student. If you haven't been down to our water treatment plant, make sure you put that on your agenda. Ben was able to walk me through the mechanical aspects of our water treatment plant, also voiced some concerns, and we're going to start conversations about some of those concerns in terms of the mechanical state of the plant and upgrades that we're looking at down the line, probably 2 to 5 years. So I asked him to kind of prioritize the list. I'm going to meet back with him. I have a couple of requests. We have a special event permit that was brought to us a little bit behind, but we got all the signatures necessary. It's for the Knights of Columbus, and that's the Candy Cane Drive. They'll be located at the stop sign of 17 and 10, the stop sign of North Lake Shore and Academy Road, as well as North Main and Jefferson Street, the old hangouts. The sponsor organization, St. Mary's of the Lake Catholic Church, and it's the Knights of Columbus Council 13720, and I have that for a submission. You?
When's the date?
Thank you. The others, 9/30/2023. It'll be this weekend. What else do we have? I have a note from, oh, they do need to approve it right now. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's for your.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Knights of Columbus.
I second.
Been moved by Mr. Sardi, seconded by Mr. Ham. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
On a roll, I won't stop. Appreciate that. I have some requests from Bob and the utilities. The new water main is in service on Academy Road. That work is done. It's flushed and working well. Bob has a quote from Thomas that will put several new homes on that Academy line. Shut off the old 1-inch and will serve the new homes through that. He's got the bid for that work. He also has an additional quote and request to replace 2 fire hydrants. Both need relocating for the Jefferson Cass Trail next summer. And so that's work that needs to be done. Both of these projects are projected to be paid from the ARP funds. The remaining will go towards the well at the old Penders for that. The last thing that Bob asked me to bring up is he has a quote from American Pump to replace the 2, as he quotes it, junk valves at the wastewater treatment plant between the digester and the scum pit. That's quite a tour. I believe the total is going to be about $12,310, but I've got the numbers and talked with Karen about that.
What's the status on the water well?
Good question. Bob's not online. I can't answer that.
He is online.
Oh, he is online. Bob might be able to provide that status for you.
Bob?
You there? Might not be able to hear. I'll make a note of it.
Just, when are they gonna start? What's
Absolutely.
the whole 9 yards?
John, we'll do.
Thank you.
And also on the ARPA funds, Karen, initially, I know you were concerned about our splitting those funds into multiple projects because of the accounting regulations on it. Are you comfortable with
Yes.
doing? Okay, that's fine.
And so I'm going to submit these for their approval, correct?
You might want to.
Okay, very good. The American Pump Repair and Service, it will be to provide all needed confined space, labor, and materials to replace existing distressed 6-inch valve and 17-inch stem. I believe this is ×2, if I correct, so it's 6155, and I gave you the number ×2 at 12,310. From Thomas Excavating, the following scope of work. Location number 1 is Slate and Cass Streets. It's to install a 4-inch line stop, cut and remove existing water main, remove existing sidewalk, add a 4-inch pipe to move proposed hydrant east, install the valve and valve box, install a Kennedy fire hydrant assembly, backfill excavation area, no sidewalk curb replacement included in that, or landscaping. Location number 2 will be Slate and Washington Street. It's to insert a 4-inch valve into the existing water main, cut and remove existing water main and existing fire hydrant, install the Kennedy fire hydrant assembly, backfill the area the same. I've got a number at 3464 from Bob on that one. And the last is for the proposed domestic water service taps on our new line on Academy. The properties include 940 East, 936 East Academy Road, 932 East Academy Road, 928 East Academy Road, and 924 East Academy Road. That number is going to come to 23,245 and 60 cents.
Is he asking for approval on that tonight?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's have the first one again, please.
The first one would be from the American Pump and Repair for a total.
12,310.
Thank you.
And move that we approve the replacement of those valves based upon that quote for $12,310.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. West, seconded by Mr. Githens. All those in favor signify.
The Jefferson Cass Trails, that's 34640.
I move that we approve the proposal to relocate those fire hydrants for a cost not to exceed $34,640.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Githens. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the last will be for the Academy Road, for the 5 houses pick up on the new line. That total cost is going to be $23,245 and 60 cents.
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Githens, seconded by Mr. Ham. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And finish the best for last. I had the opportunity to attend Culver Community's Dream Day. I was able to talk to students ranging from freshman to senior year about careers in municipality, and also talked about their college aspirations and what they concern be important to them in terms of town. I was kind of surprised. Number 1 on the list was the old theater. They were really would like something to be done with that. Kind of shocked me a little bit. I figured we'd typical fast food restaurant, but no. They're excited by that and it was good. As a follow-up to that day, I met with Brett Barrett at the community and talked to him about establishing a Culver Youth Council. He thought it was a wonderful idea. We would pull 2 members from each of the grade levels in the class and meet with them once a month on Monday to discuss insights into projects in town, to get feedback, also to do some work service in town, possibly with Steve and some of the ordinance updates, as well as just community service projects that would go into their college resumes or for future aspirations. So that's got great momentum. I'm going to meet with Brett again and Karen and just try to get that up and going. And I'm kind of excited by it as an old teacher, so it's good stuff. We are also, there were some concerns brought up about the Christmas light contract. We've got it extended into 2025 and there will be Christmas. The lights are going up on November 13th and 14th, and it will be here for our holiday weekend. And that is the town manager's notes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Department head report, EMS, anybody online for EMS? Fire, Terry?
Yeah, 2 things. I need permission to order a set of gear for one of our new firefighters at $3,494.
How much, Terry?
$3,494.
Is there a motion, please?
I make a motion that we approve purchasing the gear for a new firefighter, in the amount of $3,494.
Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ham. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anything else, Terry?
And with that, I have our newest firefighter, Colton Fairchild, who's passed all his classes and he is now.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job.
And that's all I have today.
Thank you. Police, Wayne, are you on? Okay. Park.
We've had a lot of discussions about it, and I sent over and answered some questions today. I have in front of me an estimate for the pier socket fixes and repairs for $106,000. Sorry, $106,982.26. This is for the work to be done on C pier and half of B pier.
From what company?
Sorry, North Shore Fabrication, sorry.
A motion to approve.
Someone.
Been moved by Mr. Ham,
I'll second.
second by Mr. West.
Statement or question? Sorry that the people already left.
I know.
But yeah,
There's
you know,
the fix.
there's more to it than just the pier sockets. And I guess what I'm getting at is, I know earlier in the year, you met with Bob Broker and you met with some other people
Mhm.
about what it would cost to replace piers. And I don't think people understand what it would cost totally to replace the slats and everything.
Right.
And I just wish that would come out, so it might give the townsfolk and people that rent here from out of town a realization of what the total cost would be to do those piers. And yes, it's somewhat of a Band-Aid approach, but it's,
Yeah.
You know, we really need a donor or a benefactor to pay for the piers.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's that important. I mean, I'm serious, and I'm not joking, and I know you're not either, but I just wish more people understood that. And if you want to throw out a figure that you talk to people about, I mean, it's scary.
Yeah.
And there's also the complication, and Amber, we talked to several of us about this, is that companies are unwilling to bid on this work unless they have the install and deinstall process.
Right.
And so it's not like we can get 4 and 5 bids from different contractors that do piers. You know, that none of them will bid on it because they're not responsible for taking it in and out and doing the rest of the work. And the other thing, and this is just a personal comment on this and the piers, someone said something about it, about getting the park to fund some of the repair and other work for the piers. The piers are, the boat slip piers are used by the boat slip owners who rent those piers. And I don't think it's unreasonable to expect that that's where the revenue comes from to maintain and support those piers. Also, we're not even at market-based rate currently. If you go to the marina, you'll find that the rates there are much higher than this. And we're not doing it to make money, but it should be self-supporting, is my personal opinion.
And the marina won't do it unless you buy a boat from them. Won't issue you a slip. So there's more pieces to this puzzle. So that was $106,980. $982.26. $982.26, okay.
Correct.
And I had a motion from
Rich.
Mr. West.
Sure, yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hammond.
There you go.
Thank you. All those in favor, signify.
Not accomplished.
Can I go back on that once with Amber about the sockets? Are we placing the sockets in the same footprint, or are we gonna be moving them at all to make more room for both?
May I ask your name, sir?
I'm sorry, Tom Wiley, 425 Lake Street,
We're keeping the same outline.
same thing.
Yeah, I mean, they need adjusted. I mean, it kind of snakes a little bit. The point is to straighten it out. We're not adding any slips. We're not,
adding, but widen.
we are not, we don't have any property to widen to.
Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.
Thank you all. Be sure to keep you all posted as that work continues again. Ideally, C Pier will be done by the start of spring, or summer of 2024. That's the plan. Of course, things happen, but, I'll keep you posted as things progress. Since I was last here, we have a new sub pump pit installed in the elevator shaft. We have a new base plate, so we have fully operable elevators. So we're really excited about that. The lighthouse has gotten a new facelift in case anyone hasn't noticed. It looks a lot better. And then Brady's been working really hard. He's our maintenance worker in the off season. He's been doing a tremendous job. He got all the picnic tables repainted. It looks really nice. So he's been doing tremendous work. So that's all my updates.
Anything else, Amber?
That's all.
All right, thank you. Bob, are you online now?
I am online.
Do you have anything?
I do not, unless you have something for me.
Don't believe we do. We approved all of your requests.
I appreciate that.
I asked him about the well directly or?
Oh, yeah, Bob.
Update on it.
Bob, can you give us an update on the well, where we are, what's happening with it?
I'll call and get another update tomorrow, but the last I heard, we're placed on the schedule, but we're not immediate. So it should happen for the end of this year for the casing to get drilled in, then we'll design the motor and the pump.
Thanks, Bob.
Building commissioner.
There were 16 building permits applied for, compared to 13 in July. They're all in various stages. In August, Culver received $2,205.60 for building permits versus July that was $1,365.60. I previously noted Marshall County is increasing building permit fees. The expected date for the new fee schedule from the county is January 1st. I've got a new fee schedule prepared that I'm going to present to the Plan Commission for their October meeting, so we can discuss that there. And if they're all on board with that, essentially I'll bring it in here so you can have a chance first of all to discuss it in one meeting, and then if it looks good, we'll have another meeting where we can have an ordinance ready that can increase some of those fees. In some cases, decrease. All the fee schedule is going to be based on actual cost, Culver. I'm not sure where the fee schedules came from in the past, but they'll be based on actual costs. So we'll find that in some cases, just a quick for instance, $100 to go to the BZA. Actual cost is closer to $170. So that means taxpayers are footing the bill for the rest of that right now. So more examples to come on that. Also, I'm planning for December is to have a list of corrections that are for our zoning ordinances. Just the first group of corrections, but they're typos and making sure people are correctly identified for the jobs they're doing. For instance, sometimes there's some not clarity between county building commissioner and Culver building commissioner and a host of things like that. I'll just jump into the TRC Technical Review Committee had 2 meetings in August. One was for 1146 South Street, construction of a new sunroom and a covered deck. That passed. That was in an L1. That's why we had that. And then also we had an L1 1424 East Shore Drive for renovations, which passed. Plan Commission had 1 hearing at 429 North Lake Street to approve a replat. That passed. VZA had 3 items on the agenda in August. 1 withdrew and 2 cases were tabled. Do I have any questions?
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, very much. Redevelopment Commission, Sally?
I think
Or
Marty is here.
Marty back there.
Thank you. Marty Ostran for the Redevelopment Commission. We held our September meeting on the 3rd Monday at 5:15 PM in this room, like we do every month. You're more than welcome to join us on 3rd Mondays. We have a lot of fun. We appropriated, at this last meeting, we appropriated funding to assist the town in the purchase of a police car. We also appropriated funding to support the town for the Christmas decorations, as Kevin said. It's a couple of examples we think of using the commercial tax dollars that are generated by these tax increment financing districts to improve to provide a safe, secure, attractive retail environment in town. So we're very happy to do that. Our next meeting is October 16th, where we will hold a public hearing relative to the dunes. I imagine that'll be fairly popular. It'll be the first of many, I'll talk maybe just a quick minute about the dunes. It'll be the first of many public hearings for the dunes. There's a schedule for this project. And if it all goes according to schedule, then the bond closing will happen on December 14th. So this is the time frame between now and then when this project will be evaluated, where there will be a series of public meetings where we will try to get word out about what this is, what it means, and let you know how to provide input. Starting October 1st, I'm hoping to I'm taking it upon myself to create some of the content relative to that communications. I've asked Kevin and Karen to help me get together to figure out how to get that content out and make sure it's accurate. And with the target date of October 1st, we'll start getting that out into the ether, I guess, for you to pick up. Let's see what else might be for discussion. I think that's about it.
Thank you. Anyone here from the Tree Commission?
No report.
No report. Thank you. Karen, Clerk's report.
I have several claims over $2,500 for your approval. A couple of them have already been approved, but I'm just going to call attention to them. Michigan Area Council of Governments, $2,797.23, and that's for the writing of the comp plan. Also, Deadline Driven Publishing LLC, $5,400, and that's also for writing of the comp plan. Priority Project Resources, $12,500, coming out of the CCD fund for the park improvement project. That's for grants oversight on that project. American Pump Repair and Service, $14,525, and that's from the sewer department for repairs. Peerless Midwest, $20,480, also out of the sewer for contractual services. And then 2 invoices, equal amounts, both are $36,759, and those are for the 2 squad cars purchased by the police department.
Motion to approve claims over $2,500. It's been moved by Mr. West. Second,
Second.
Second by Mr.
Question.
Sir.
Question. How much have we paid so far for the comp plan?
Can I get back to you on that?
I mean, I'm
I mean,
thinking it's somewhere around 13,000.
well, you signed a contract with,
I know.
NACOG. So I would have to do a little bit of digging.
Okay.
If you want to wait for a couple of minutes, I can find that information. We'll hold up the meeting. Otherwise, I can get back to you.
Just get back to me.
All right.
Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Attorney's report.
I've got it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. I have a capital assets proposal. The State Board of Accounts is wanting us to do capital assets, providing depreciation. And we've used John Peterson to do that for the last couple of years. He sent me an engagement letter this afternoon, and that's for $2,000 to take care of our capital assets. I'd ask that you approve that.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Good, second by Mr. West. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Just to keep this on your radar, while we were discussing the budget, you all had, I provided a couple of different occasions, a water sewer rate study results, and then also you had discussed raising golf cart fees. If you all want to do that before the end of the year, as far as the golf cart, I put together a schedule that we would need to follow in my clerk's report, and if that's, I just need an indication from you that that's what you would want to do. With the water and sewer rates, that's kind of up to you on when you want to tackle that.
I would suggest that we move ahead with the golf cart rate increases or changes and schedule it according to whatever you're suggesting, Karen. And on the water rates, do we need another working session on that? I mean,
That's up to you all. I mean, nothing much has changed since I provided the last study.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of when you all want to tackle that. And you can chew on it for another 2 weeks. That's fine.
Let's wait till.
I would like to see us do something with that before the end of the year.
Definitely.
I will keep it on my clerk's report and continue to remove it. Okay.
With analysis for rate increases and things like that, I just.
He's a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, yes. Karen, do you have anything?
I do have a couple more things. I'm sorry. I have a forgiveness request from Tony Giraldi. He had I believe a hose leak. And the request is for a credit of $304.62 on his sewer.
I'll move that we accept that.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Sardi, seconded by Mr. Githens. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And just a reminder of 2 upcoming events. The townwide garage sales are this weekend. If you haven't gotten your information to me, it might be too late unless you email me first thing in the morning because I haven't done the listing. I'll have that out on Thursday. And then townwide cleanup is the weekend of October 14th. You can put your stuff out at the curb and the utility guys will come and pick it up on the morning. That's all I have.
Thank you. Attorney's report.
2 quick things. The county commissioners approved a request that the town had made to have the town council appoint a member to the county tourism board. I think that was instituted by the visitors folks or whatever. So you all need to look towards another appointment. It used to be the Culver Chamber, and the Culver Chamber is kind of.
We recommended that in that second letter, we recommended Mark Moore Jr. as the appointment for that.
Oh, did you?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Well, the commissioners don't make the appointment.
They threw
just-
it back to us.
They just modified it back to the council, so,
So they modified the ordinance, the county ordinance.
well,
to
you
allow
had to
us
get
to
into
be-
this, didn't you? So
Well, how are we gonna get somebody appointed to represent us?
that,
Counselor.
they need to amend the ordinance.
Right.
However, the ordinance that they would be amending really doesn't comply with the statute.
Right.
So I recommended that we amend the ordinance, but in the meantime, so that Culver is not left without representation on the tourism board to have in the interim, have the town council make the appointment for the culvert representative. Okay,
It's reiterating, but I would move that we appoint or recommend to the commissioners that Mark DeMore Jr. be appointed to be Culver's representative on the Marshall County Tourism Board.
Second. Been moved by Mr. West, seconded by Mr. Githens to appoint Mark DeMore Jr. And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
and you want me to communicate that back to them? You want to communicate that, make it?
You can-
I can do it.
We can send the original letter that had that recommendation.
I'll just tell them it's been confirmed.
Just tell
And not to change the substance from your town manager's report or Marty's report on the dunes, both were fine summaries. But the working team has been pretty active and pretty busy on that project. So I just didn't want you to think by the short, brief summary that was made that meant that there wasn't a lot of effort being put forth. They've been working at it every day. So am I right?
Complicated. It is.
Yeah. The fact that we've got an economic development project, we got a ready grant, you wouldn't think it should be that complex, but it is. So,
It's in a fluid state right now. That's why they keep it at a summary.
so I just bring that to everybody's attention. And that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Utility shut off or ordinance violation. Anyone in the room for utility shut off or an ordinance violation? Anyone online? See anybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Citizen input. Yes, sir.
430 State Street. Kevin, you mentioned the movie theater. Is there any activity either through the town, through a private organization, or is there anything happening with it at all?
Everybody I talk to is interested in it. Is there anything formal apart from the regular rumors that we hear floating around? No. Unless Marty, you might have something more formal than that. I was just talking to kids about it and that came up. And so I would like to start talking about it if somebody has some ideas about it. And I know that's something that's happened in the past, but I'll defer.
The gentleman passed away who owned.
That's right.
And the ownership is now in probate.
That's right.
So it will be some time before it's determined who exactly can make decisions on the future of the building. But there is, I understand, some interest both from the local
without a deficit. So we ended up the 300 and whatever the number was ahead of what we had budgeted. Roughly.
So that's a good thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I think in the spring, we had some trees around in the town that were cut down. Do we have any, with the tree commission being here now, any plans on replacing some of those trees that were cut down?
Mike, you want to answer that?
Yes, we do. I haven't seen our budget approval yet, but if it's what we requested a couple months ago, we will have in 2024 approximately $15,000 to put new trees in, and that will buy us about 30 trees. So we will select the areas where we want to put them in. One of the areas that we concentrate on is wherever we took old trees down. So there will be new trees put in.
Yes, sir.
Ezowitz, 522 South Main. Just a big thank you for quick action on the alley behind Main between Davis and Winfield. The 11 blue X's are gone, but the alley has been graded and we're looking forward to phase 2, which is the gravel coming in. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Yes, sir.
John Helfrey. I just want to go back to, maybe Amber can answer this. You brought up before the buoy situation, and somebody made a comment or wrote a letter that that person would like to see the buoys out farther, 200 feet from the last pier versus 200 feet from the shoreline. In the interest of physics and wave activity and keeping the increase to minimum over a certain amount of time, couldn't we reduce the risk of waves and keep the longevity, the stabilized pier longer? If we move those buoys to 200 feet, we could do that legally, can't we?
Yeah. The buoys are placed by the Lake Maxicogee Association, so I'll have a conversation with their director.
John, we talked about that. DNR, 200 feet to shore, not to the end of the pier.
That's not what I'm asking. I know that's the legal. Why can't we just move it 200 feet?
Because it's not legal. We don't want it out. If you drive around the lake, you see people have it 300 feet away from their pier. Yeah. Gotta have a norm. The norm is 200 feet from shore.
I'll clarify with the Lake Maxicogee Association and DNR.
Clarify with the DNR.
And I said DNR as well.
That's who's.
Yep.
Makes the rules.
Yes, ma'am.
Patty Stallings, 506 Lakeshore Drive. Two things. I'd like to thank you, Kevin, and Amber, and Bob, and Rich, for taking the time. He really worked at it last year, Rich, to try to solve this problem of moving these horrendously big blocks. And thank you so much. I think we've got a heck of a good fella here in our city manager, town manager, because he jumped right on it and worked with two of our wonderful staff. And I thank you all too for making that happen. That is very important. And secondly, I would like to ask, who are the people that are negotiating with the owners of the Dunes property and the developer? Is it a secret group, or who is on that group that works so hard?
It's Bill Clevenger, Sally, Marty, Kevin, our bond counsel, our financial advisors, Bob Porter and Karen.
Now you're up against a really big professional builder.
Yes, we
I
are.
hope that you're looking into people to make studies for you before you make these decisions, because it's like an impact study. The developer should pay for it, but I think it's really important to the town that we know what impact those 300 doors will give to the rest of our community.
Patty, we're spending thousands of dollars just doing that.
Oh,
a number of the studies, you know, wetland and environmental impact have to be done in order to qualify for the grant. So
But they're not done yet. You don't have those numbers yet.
I don't have them, no.
Also sure that you should be paying for it. The developer should be paying for those.
Developer's gonna pay for some of it.
What?
Developer's gonna pay for some of it.
Marlene,
Harvey Mahler, Union Township trustee. I came to the meeting this evening mainly to listen to the budget to make sure that everything we had talked about before was correct. And thank you very much for all the time that you spent in the work sessions to get our budgets done. But what I want to ask or tell you now is the Christmas basket program that I have been involved in 24 years now. It's going to be coming up again in December. It's always the second weekend in December. It'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We work with the academy, the high school, all of the churches in the town, all organizations, businesses. We get all kinds of donations. It's close to a $50,000 project now. The town employees come and help. On Friday, we'll be getting the groceries. The academy brings their army trucks over to parking shop and they load the groceries and take them to the high school. The kids unload them then. And then Saturday morning, we make up the baskets. Last year, we had 480 some people that we helped with the Christmas baskets and groceries. And then on Sunday, our fire departments and police department, town employees, and the fire departments from other communities all come and help us. And I want to thank all of you and remind you that it is the second weekend in December, and we will certainly appreciate all the help you can get us.
thank you, Marlene.
You do a great job.
Yes, tremendous
Taking that
service.
project for so long. It's a great asset to the
It's,
community.
yeah, it's a great project. I've never seen a community work together so much. And Will and Terry knows too, you know, and Karen's been there. She comes on Friday and Saturday both. You know, thousands of dollars worth of groceries. We set up our own little grocery store in the cafeteria of the school, you know, and the kids are, last year we had 50 some kids from the academy and the high school. And Bill, you've been there to work several years and, you know, all of you, Rich, you've been there to work and Bill, it's amazing to see everybody come together.
Yes, it is.
Fantastic project this community does for those that are in need.
Quite a community.
It
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marlene.
You're an excellent chair.
Just put it on your calendars. All I do is tell people what to do. I did that.
Any other citizen input?
Somebody's got to.
Mike,
Mike Stallings, 506 Lakeshore Drive. I hate to beat a dead horse, but I want to just address this pier thing again. Would it not make sense? These piers, we've been on these piers for 30 or 40 years. And in 30 or 40 years, they start pretty well. And as time goes by, those things start to wobble more and more and more. So it's kind of like somebody mentioned bootstrapping or band-aiding. That's exactly what happens with this thing. Is it possible for the town and or the park to, I don't know if you can float a bond or you can get a grant or you could borrow money to do this thing right and do it at one time and get it done? Because what we're talking about, Amber has to figure out how to do this part this year and another part next year. And by the time she gets down to the end, you'll have to go back and start all over again. And I've talked to someone who does piers about what this problem is, and part of it is the depth. So I think the design, from what I've been told by this person, needs to be actually changed so that this thing doesn't happen again. Because the way it's going, even with the triangular bracing that the person in the letter mentioned, these things after a period of time start to wobble, and they're in sand. So when you walk in that pier, if you walk back and forth, or wave action or anything like that, those things are gonna move. They always do. They've done it for 40 years that we've been on the pier. Is it possible, and this is just a question, is it possible to appropriate, I didn't realize how expensive this was, by the way, but the $250,000 or $300,000 that it would take to do this thing once and for all, right? And then finance it over a period of, say, 10 years? Can the town do something like that?
Just to clarify, we are addressing the depth. We're replacing every socket and making it deeper and adding crossbars. So we're fixing the square and the triangle as referenced before. So
That's great, Amber, but you have to move. You've got this part this year, and then you got part next year, and then someone asked about the decks. And those decks, there's some bad decks.
we replace them, every year, like anything that has a crack or a hole, or we walk them at the start of every year and intermittently and replace any crack, anytime it's reported, I've always had it replaced.
But they're not getting any, you fix one and another one pops up. It's like sticking your hole in a dam, or your finger in a dam. And what I understand, when these piers were originally fabricated, they were made out of fencing. PVC fencing, vinyl fencing. I would imagine, and I don't know for sure, that there's a product today that would last you a heck of a lot longer than this thing is called. I'm just a suggestion. I'm not saying that you haven't thought about it, but think about, is it possible to get this thing all done at one time and everybody is happy? And, the $40,000 that this is gonna go up this year, it can go toward paying off that debt, and just do that over 10 years, that's $400,000. If we don't raise the rates.
And are you saying to do it like all the sockets at once? Is that what you mean by doing it right? Or
I know you can't do that.
Yeah,
It's a mammoth.
it's too much of work at once. Yeah.
I'm just saying, you have to come to the town board and say, I need, I may have to raise rates again to do this, because costs will go up, labor will go up. And if it's all planned and you can start this thing and get a financing that allows you to disperse funds as you get these things done. I'm not saying you're gonna, I see this as probably a 3-year project at least to do this to put these things in the right way. But if you could do that with the guaranteed financing that you need to borrow today to do this thing, and you had so much coming in from us, the boat renters, additional every year, would that be possible? Karen?
Are you saying replace all of the piers?
Eventually, yes.
Because we're doing this, we're planning to do this over 3 years.
Yeah, and
I guess I don't understand.
I'm saying do the proper job, get it all done, and it may take 3 years to do it, but then it's done.
Mhm.
It's gonna take,
So you want to replace all the piers, basically?
well.
Is that?
You're talking about the planks as well?
With the proper
Because it's like-
installation.
Panels.
600,000.
Yeah, it's a lot more than.
And planks, we're
Okay,
talking,
whatever it is, what is it?
600,000
I mean,
for the deck.
I can tell you, I walked over to Harbor Conduit, it's like their amount for one section was $300,000
Could I
and
suggest, Amber, maybe you get a group of people together who are interested in talking about this and come up, and they can help plan and come up with some things to come back to the council on. I understand and appreciate what you're saying, Mike, but I don't. know how to solve
I'm
it.
more addressing the council as to whether you think this could be done, maybe done over 3 years, but done with the money appropriated through a loan at that period of time. Can the town do something like that?
It's possible. We could take the loan out and finance it. It's just finding the right bank or the financier
Well,
to do that.
I'm just,
So,
It's always.
what I heard today was
but I
that
guess,
Amber has to get, $106,000 to do the first phase of this thing.
1.5. Well, sorry. Yeah, 1.5 piers
1.5, yeah.
of 3 total.
But these are the pipe,
Yes.
but some of that pipe has to be replaced because it's not long enough, that's further out.
Yes.
Because these,
That's the
because these,
get.
yeah, the new sockets are gonna go way down in the ground, right? So they have to drive those way down in the ground. I don't know if you all familiar.
Yep.
In order for this thing to not wobble.
How long are they?
7 feet.
7 feet. They're very long.
Yeah, they
I
are.
don't see them moving,
I think they're probably 2.5 feet.
but I mean the new ones.
I
I
understand.
don't think a 7 foot.
Yeah, but you see them, see the enormity bill of the project.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's close to $1
Rather
million.
than trying to come back and figure out how you're gonna do it next or get it all appropriated.
I mean, basically, we're phasing this out over 3 years. We're setting aside money so that we can do it in chunks as the contractor can do it.
Each pier is 106,000 and.
That's, yeah.
For
Three.
currently for all of C pier and half of B pier, just shy of $107,000.
But that's only sockets and
Materials.
Okay, what about the other half of B pier and A pier?
I don't currently,
Well, I know, I understand that. I'm not.
But it's not
I'm
gonna
not-
be as much as 100.
Believe me, I'm not challenging you. I'm
yeah,
trying to find a way to get this thing done so people can walk on their piers. I'm an old man. I can't walk on that pier.
You guys are, you're in C pier, correct? Yeah, I mean, that is the worst of all of them, which is why we're starting there. Like you could talk to somebody on A and they would tell you, why are we doing this? I go, walk on C, that's where you'll be in 5 years. So the issue is it hasn't reached A pier yet. We'll address it before it happens.
Well, when the park board was active, we redid all of Bay Pier. I mean, that pier is, what, 5, 6 years old, maybe? Maybe a little more.
Older,
Maybe a
yeah.
little more.
But it was all done, all new sockets, the sockets were moved because at that time, the object was to get these longer pontoon boats
Right.
a place so they could get in
Mhm.
into their slip. And so that was all redone at whatever that period of time.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
All right.
Anyone else?
Thing do it all done at once, like not just the sockets and everything else. But also not, I mean, I'm saying as a package, but I'm saying that would include a little, like the idea that you're proposing would include the actual planks, so when you walk out, so that it's a newer, is that what you're? So it's material,
These pier decks were done with
I know,
PVC pencil. That's really not the best thing.
understand, but I'm saying you're bringing up tonight, including changing those out to a newer.
Ultimately, yes. The problem with this is that Emmer is gonna be under the gun to get the fall stuff done and get done before the boats go back in the water in the spring, right? So you got it. Good, good luck, kiddo.
Anybody else that says an input? Yes, sir.
Karen Chastity, 520 South Plymouth. Karen, you mentioned just a little while ago that you need to make some determination on raising golf cart permit rates by the end of the year.
It was discussed during our budget season. The council had the intention of raising it to $100. And if we're gonna do that in time for the registrations to go out at the beginning of the year, we need to get that process started now because I need to advertise for a public hearing. The ordinance would need to pass to the council and then you have to advertise that ordinance and it needs to be 30 days in advance of the fee increase.
So that would be something that would be voted on by the first of the year.
It would be voted on before the first of the year. I would say in the next month.
And I think this has come around before, and I think the concern last time was that this determination gets made in the off season when very few residents are here.
I realized that. So I have a couple hundred people online or emails that these agendas go out to, and we offer the opportunity for people to come and participate online. So, it usually comes up after budget season, which is why I kind of tried to bring it up tonight, knowing that it's a little bit later in the year, but we still have some people here.
And then I guess follow up, is there an impetus for this? Is there a reason?
You would need to ask the council.
So when will we find out if this gets put on the docket for this year?
It will be on the agenda They basically directed me to advertise for a public hearing, so that information will go out. If you are on Town Garden Lake, you will get that notice, just like you get all the other public notices that I send out.
And the last thing I say is I just find it unfortunate if it could be planned better so that residents are here when these determinations are made versus having to. Thank you.
Anyone else that says an input? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Ginger Budget's 232 South Main. I've only been, this is my second board meeting. And I'm curious, I just got a golf cart. But I would like to know what that money is going for. I have no idea. Where does that money go when we pay our?
It's all.
It goes into the general fund.
General
So it
fund.
goes to support the police,
You're right.
the fire,
Ever
the
been
EMS.
appropriated specifically for the golf carts?
What would that be?
I don't know. More trails, more anything. Because I would like to go to Route 10 and I can't get there because I can't drive on Route 10.
Well,
I know that, but the town could provide an area that we could drive.
Like one of the reasons we've talked about the increase, as Karen said, potentially this goes into the general fund. We're gonna have a public hearing on this, so that would be the forum really to get into detail on this. But if you talk to the police department, the extraordinary amount of time and inordinate amount of time that they spend enforcing the regulations. I mean,
Anyone online for citizen input? Hearing none, council issues.
I want to thank Jim Clevenger to follow up what Patty said about the rocks at the park and pointing out not only the nuisance factor, but the liability factor, and for everybody, Kevin and y'all that jump on it and get it done. I mean, Alexa was here 4 times and, it shouldn't take 4 times for public input to get some results done. So Jim, I want to compliment you on putting out that email and getting everybody else off their duff.
Anything else?
Anybody was on their duff. Just as a, it's an
FYI.
inappropriate comment. Just
Sally?
on the record.
I don't have anything this time.
The only thing I have is I don't know which group is doing it, but I'm very pleased to see that the fire hydrants are getting painted. I don't know who's doing that, but I think they really look good.
In Larry's art class from the.
Really? Well, I think they're doing a great job. Bill?
I would just like to thank Kevin for engaging the school and the students. Getting this youth council up and running. I think that's a very innovative way to get younger people involved. Town does part of it. Thank you.
Hearing nothing else, a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Good, second by Mr. West. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.